guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Shantia here. Welcome loves, welcome to this new episode of Healing Relationships. In today's video, we're going to be talking about dark feminine and how you can use your dark feminine energy in your relationships. The way that I would identify the dark feminine energy is it is like that bitchy, witchy, mean, selfish energy. But most importantly, she is the lioness. And the lioness comes out for you to learn how to own your power. Just as much as we have like this angelic side, the Mother Mary side to us, that is the people pleaser, is this the sweet aspect to us. We all have that. We also have this dark feminine side to us too. And that is just as important to acknowledge as a woman. If women were so submissive all the time, we would not get things done in this world. Okay, and we would suppress our desires, which is ironic because as a woman, one of your superpowers is birthing things or creating things within the womb. So we're full of desire, and learning how to hone in on our desires is actually what's going to help create so much more balance in this world. So while we think of the angelic side, or I like to think of the angelic side as the Mother Mary, I think of the dark feminine energy as the Lilith in the relationship. If you guys have read the Bible or heard about Lilith from the story, she's kind of that independent, wild energy. Even in a relationship, even in a marriage, that energy is still useful. But it's useful in any kind of relationship because it's about owning your power. It's about owning those darker, shadowy aspects to your emotions. So often we think, okay, when we have our dark, shadowy emotions, these mean thoughts that come through our mind, we think, oh gosh, I gotta suppress those emotions. But that darker feminine, the lioness, is calling in you to actually acknowledge your desires, acknowledge what you want. To understand that we have this primal side to us. If you think about the mama bear, if something happens to her child, you best believe everybody better step out of the way because mama bear is coming to come for you. She's coming for you. That is the survival mechanism. That's the primal mechanism hardwired into us, but we suppress it when it comes to things that we really want to do. If you ever feel called to speak up, toughen up, that is your darker feminine aspect coming out of you, asking for you to direct and be direct about what your goals are, be direct about what your desires are, be honest with yourself about what you really want. So if someone says no, and something in you says, oh yes, I can, listen to it and align with your desires. A really good example of dark feminine energy, I think, is Lindsay from Married at First Sight, if you guys watch my Married at First Sight reviews. So Lindsay, she has a lot of dark feminine energy. She's very unapologetic about who she is, what she wants, very outspoken about her truth. Yet she is also a primal example of an unhealed version of the dark feminine. So when you continue to suppress your desires and you don't heal on top of that, the dark feminine starts to act up in unconscious ways, right? You start flipping tables, you start acting out, saying things, nagging your partner, complaining, because you're supposed to be actually aligning with your desires. When you do your healing, that dark feminine energy, that shadowy part of yourself, it becomes queen energy. It becomes power to use towards obtaining your goals. This especially is being called to us when we don't do our healing. Take the time to do your healing. Take the time to acknowledge your emotions and fine-tune your emotions and gain self-control so your emotions don't own you. So if there's any time you feel frustrated, annoyed, exhausted, that's because that dark feminine energy, that lioness, is calling for you to wake up. Use it as momentum to propel you towards what you really want to do, what you really are desiring to create for yourself. The way that I would go about doing this is through journaling. Always journal, always write down what you want. Speak your truth, practice speaking your truth. What I'll often do in my Heal, Feel, and Reveal series videos is sometimes I'll do little snippets of my diary entries, my video entries from 5 to 6 to 7 years ago. I talk exactly the same. My belief system is exactly the same, but I've had to practice owning and aligning with it over and over and over again for them to manifest into my physical reality. A tricky part to the dark feminine and shadowy aspect of ourselves is it is about power. So often if you feel this need to dominate, let's say you feel the need to dominate over your partner in any way, that's the unhealed version of the dark feminine showing up in your life. When you feel like you need to dominate, if any person ever really feels like they need to like dominate and take over in a way that isn't healthy, that's letting you know that you actually feel like you have no power at all. And this is something that I'm trying to absolutely have people release themselves and relieve themselves and change the way they believe it and see it. You absolutely do have power as a woman. It's just the way that you see it, and it's your perspective on it that needs to shift. So do your healing, acknowledge those darker shadowy emotions, own your desires, and align with them so they can manifest into your reality. And then what I would say is powerfully pray for what it is that you desire to come into your life. Powerfully pray and trust. Learn how to trust and practice that trust that things are going to manifest. People are always saying, I can't do this. Oh, I can't really do that. I can't do. Whatever you can't is what you can't. Your reality is the one that you create, and you're always creating your reality. When you say you can't, you can't. When you can, you can. So practice saying you can instead of you can't. Create a new reality and transition out of the story. So your dark feminine energy, it's calling in for you to wake up, let it acknowledge those shadowy emotions, acknowledge your desires, and let it pull you towards and transition you out of that phase of what you're not desiring, of what you're not wanting to experience, towards what you are. If something pisses me off, I don't go around smiling and waving and saying, oh, I have to like this, then I have to be happy. No. I journal and I'm like, this pissed me off. I wasn't happy. This was crazy. And I just get practice with acknowledging those emotions and just letting them flow. So if you guys watch my Married at First Sight reviews, and if you are aware of Lindsay said she had this pattern and habit of rage venting. She had the right concept, but she went about it in the wrong way. You want to get those emotions out. You want to be honest about what pisses you off and what isn't working. But honestly, it's not to reacquaint yourself with your anger. It's to be comfortable with acknowledging it. So you don't want to be like, well, now I get to be angry all the time, then throw a fit. No, you acknowledge the anger, you focus the energy, and you redirect it to give you power. Now, when you don't redirect it to give you power, you can't change your reality. When you say, I'm angry and pissed, people are always taking advantage of me, well, that becomes your reality. Now you have no power, you just gave it away. And after you've allowed yourself to acknowledge those shadowy emotions and acknowledge your desires, you create a path towards what you're really wanting, what you're truly wanting to create in your experience, in your relationship. And honestly, it's such a mental game, but you have to practice shifting your reality up here and aligning mind, body, and spirit. The womb, this is why women are such powerful manifestors. The womb is where life creates. You have the power of your womb. Use the power of your womb to create a new reality. So if you're wanting something, more of something in a relationship, or you're wanting a different kind of relationship, or you're wanting to manifest a certain kind of relationship, and on this channel, this is about all kinds of relationships, not just romantic ones. If you're wanting to experience more of that pleasurable relationship in your life, create the experience in your imagination. Create that experience in your womb first. Acknowledge it, align with it, and allow yourself to move towards it. When you don't acknowledge these shadowy emotions and you don't allow yourself to heal, you think about a child, mama, look at me, it's going to constantly ask for your attention, and it's going to get louder and louder and louder until it starts acting out in unconscious ways. So take heed and act. That's what your dark feminine is calling for you to do. Lioness wakes up, act, change it, shift it. Personally, I've never had a hard time with acknowledging those moody emotions because I consider myself a moody creative. And because I consider myself a moody creative, I've always been so attuned to acknowledging those darker emotions. But for a long time, I got lost in them before I was able to turn it into a superpower. And in a video I will be uploading in my Heal, Feel, Reveal series in 2 weeks, I'll be talking about turning that fragility, that fragile glass, into a diamond. If you practice this over and over again, you practice acknowledging those shadowy emotions, something's calling for you to wake up. If you practice doing that, speaking your truth, acknowledging your emotions, acknowledging your shadowy aspects of yourself, when things fall apart, you'll know how to pull them back together again. Because what I'm essentially telling you to do and sharing with you in this video is how to cultivate the tools to put things back together again. So if things fall apart, which in life, you're faced with challenges, you're faced with obstacles, life is never going to be perfect. This human experience is heavy and sometimes it feels very burdensome, but it's so beautiful because it's calling for you to grow and evolve. So allow yourself, things fall apart, cultivate the tools to acknowledge your emotions, and you'll know how to put things back together and put it back together even stronger than they were before. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video on healing relationships and acknowledging your dark feminine energy. Whatever your desires that you want, whatever you're wanting to create in your relationship, you absolutely can shine that light on the experience and make it a part of your reality and ground it. However, you're going to have to acknowledge that just as much as we want to acknowledge our happy emotions, the gratitude and the beauty in the world, you have to acknowledge that dark feminine aspect to yourself and be very clear on understanding, like, you get to be selfish. And especially when you're writing down and you're thinking about what you want, allow yourself to dial into that. Because what we get mixed up is that we think, okay, as community leaders, we're supposed to maneuver to what society wants of us and is desiring of us. But the reality is, you get what you get. You get what you get. The world and energy will maneuver around you. When you learn to hone in on your dark feminine energy, the energy will maneuver around you so that it allows you to manifest your desires with ease. And people aren't going to be coming to you saying, hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can do what you can, what you believe you can do. You can create what you believe you can create in this world. Your relationships can flourish as much as you want them to flourish. Okay, so that is the video for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Check out my other videos, my website, and anything else that I create. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Goodbye.